This is episode 261 of Jumblethink.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Jumblethink, where we interview amazing entrepreneurs about their journey of turning dreams and ideas into reality. Along the way, we're going to share some tips on how you can turn your own dreams and ideas into reality too. Today's guest is Eileen Kenny of Who Fits. More about Eileen in a moment. Whether you're a new listener or a longtime fan, if you haven't subscribed to Jumblethink already, right now is a great time to do it. Head on over to your favorite place to listen to podcasts and simply search for Jumblethink. Or if you're a fan of Apple Podcasts, it's even easier, jumblethink.com/iTunes. And for Spotify, jumblethink.com/Spotify. Take you right to the app to right where you can subscribe. Now let's jump into today's show. Hey there, welcome to Jumblethink. My name is Michael Woodward. I am your host. We have a great show lined up for you today. Before we get rolling, we want to take a moment and thank our friends at Penji and OpportunityInChina.com for sponsoring today's show. Here is a little bit more about our friends over at Penji. Penji is your source for unlimited graphic design at a low monthly rate. They are giving our listeners 15% off your first month. It's easy to use. Head on over to Penji, PENJI.co. That's .co. Use the code JUMBLE to get 15% off your first month. We also want to thank our friends over at OpportunityInChina.com. They are connecting you with learning and teaching experiences abroad. Learn more over at OpportunityInChina.com. Our guest on today's show is Eileen Kenny. She has a passion for the arts and for horses. She's spent years as a model with the Ford agency in New York City. She's worked in the film and TV industry in Los Angeles. And now she's going back to her roots, going back to the love of horses. And she has worked in the competitive horse space. She's doing really cool stuff and recently launched a new company called Who Fits. It's super cool. We're going to jump into this conversation and talk about Who Fits, working in Hollywood, and much, much more. Well, our guest today is Eileen Kenny. Super excited to have you on. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with me.
Thank you, Michael. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's always fun to do these interviews in person. We get to do it as a part of Podcast Row, and that's a lot of fun. As we start, I want to give a foundation for the rest of the conversation. We're going to jump into rapid fire questions in a second, but give us 30 to 60 seconds, just a little bit about what you do and who you are.
So I am a nobody from a backwoods mountain in Pennsylvania.
Okay, we're in Pennsylvania.
Up in northeast coal mining regions of Pennsylvania. You're from Pennsylvania.
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Right?
That's
okay,
right.
So northeast in the Poconos.
Okay.
Youngest of 6, and I got out to see the world as a youngster and wanted to see what's out there. Eventually, my path led through horses, and then I came up with this product that from concept to flying to China 4 times, to getting it made, to bringing it to the shelves and the public and being very well received, and now we finally put it on Amazon.
Super.
And I'm at the point where I'm looking to take it to the next level.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we can help you get the word out and let people know about what you're doing. Let's do some rapid fire questions to get a little bit more about you and your backstory.
Okay.
All right, so the first question is, as a child, and I know that's part of your story, so this is awesome. Mm-hmm. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
Originally, because I'm an animal lover at heart.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's very expensive, and I also realized that you get to see all the bad parts of the animals suffering. So that kind of went out the window.
Didn't want to endure that pain.
No. So, and what's funny is the irony is when I was little, all my little friends, we'd get together and gallop around and jump over all these little stick obstacles we made and pretend we were horses. So the irony is all these years later, I came up with a product that brought me back to my child imagination and fun dreaming that we had as little kids.
Yeah, super cool. Now, you've done a lot of things in your career. We're going to talk about some more of that.
Oh, yeah.
You've learned along the way how to do things well and how not to do things.
Yes.
Yeah, problem solve. So for you, what's one tip you give someone that's just starting out on this journey of entrepreneurship or of making dreams and ideas a reality?
So I guess the biggest part of advice I could give is to make sure you're doing something that you like or you love or have good interest in, because when the what hits the fan down the road, when you're that much pregnant with your product or whatever you're doing and you can't turn around and go back, you need to be able to get out of bed and keep moving forward and keep solving the problems and keep pushing and progressing until you get to where you want to be with it. So you have to love it. You have to like it. You have to have interest and passion to keep it going and going when everything is falling apart.
Yes,
which
and
is
it
inevitable.
does. Yes, that's. I think one of the marks of success in entrepreneurship is simply enduring when things aren't going the way you want.
Oh, it's a test. It is a human test. I swear, it's the hardest thing ever. And I have such respect now for products that are on the shelf. You have no idea. You go into Walmart, you buy something, you're done. You never think about it.
Yeah.
You have no idea the hours and time and sweat equity that is gone into making like this cup. Okay?
Yeah. You are now in the throes of entrepreneurship. What's one lie about entrepreneurship that you've heard that you go, hey, let's break that lie right now?
Oh, immediately when someone tells you how much it's going to cost, like quadruple that immediately, just right off the bat.
Okay.
And that equals time too.
Yeah.
When they say it's going to take this long, quadruple that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, without question.
So how are you finding inspiration?
Oh my gosh. So here's the bottom line. If you have a proof of concept. So we came up with this idea. I grew up with horses and worked with them for years and learned about them. So I came up with this idea, like I was walking horses back and forth and I had a crappy job and it was awful in winter. And I looked at my footprints and I looked at the horse prints and I was like, wouldn't that be cool to make hoof prints? So I came up with this idea. I got a Dremel, went back to my kitchen and Dremeled out like the bottom of a Dansko clog. And I was like, this could work. So I brought it up with some people and they're like, you should do this.
Wow. And
I thought, all right, cool. So we came up with this idea, made them little horses and have a tail and they leave hoof prints. And we called it Hoofits. So from the journey of being a little kid wanting to be a horse, then dealing with horses and having that as a career, and then coming up with this idea. When I show this to little kids and they see it and they put them on, they light up like fireflies. It's their whole world. And it took me back to like, that's how I felt when I was a kid, because it's hard adulting.
Yeah.
It's tough being an adult. So if I could bring that little light of joy to anyone, and women too, we make them for women and they're fashionable and you can wear them anywhere. They're not just for horse people, they're for everybody.
Yeah.
I would like to see them all on the streets of New York when it's raining out. So it brings joy and it doesn't hurt anybody and it's a fun thing and it's interactive and it sparks imagination. And if you can get kids, the obesity today is immense. If you can get them off the couch and running around outside, that's a plus. It's all pluses. It's a win-win for everybody, I hope.
Yeah. So learning is so significant to this journey of business and everything. What's one book you recommend that every dreamer and entrepreneur should read?
Well, that's a great question. And I'll tell you the one that affected me the most. And this ties into why we're here today, actually. And true story. I had come up with some ideas and I'm a creative person at heart. I enjoy that. I like to come up with ideas and new things and I connect things together. And so years and years ago, I found a book and it was called Choose Yourself. And I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I opened it up and I read it and it immediately resonated with me.
Yeah.
And it made sense.
Yeah.
It covers, physical health and mental health and creativity and the trend of how the world was going at the time.
Yeah.
Where, all these people in these big corporations and cubicles are being taken away and technology is taking over and taking those jobs. And I was like, this makes so much sense. It's right. And so it pushed me forward to open up more creativity and start doing things on my own and experimenting about, can I do this? Do I have the skills? How do you do it? Well, I don't know. Figure it out. You problem solve and you keep going. When they said, let's make a boot, I was like, okay. I've always been a yes person. Like, I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
And, the journey took almost 7 years from concept to get the product on the shelf. And you just figure it out. I have no idea about injection molding in China, how to make a boot. Who knew?
Yeah.
But you just do. You keep going and you figure it out and you ask questions and you contact people and get recommendations and you fail and you lose a lot of money and then you keep going and it just until it's done.
Yeah. Choose Yourself is by James Alcatraz, who's part of this event and really great guy. And so, definitely check that book out. All right, as we wrap up rapid fire questions, our final rapid fire question. What is one dream you are still wanting to fulfill in your own life?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah.
I would have to say, given my own personal journey with relationships and people and having a daughter and a single mom, I would like to have that fulfilling partnership with someone that you can And and this is just a personal answer to your question because I have not found that yet.
Yeah.
To find somebody that pushes me and I can support them and have that relationship where you better yourself and advance physically, mentally, emotionally, and have a wonderful balance in your life. And be able to share that for the rest of your life. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, in the end, it's not about how much money you have or how much stuff you have. It's really about the relationships you have with people and how that satisfies your life and how you can affect other people's lives.
Yeah.
So that to me is a big, still out there gonna happen thing.
Super, super cool.
So if you know anybody, just know. I'm just kidding.
Well, we will be right back for our second segment where we get to hear Eileen's story behind Who Fits, and I love the product. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your journey of how you became an entrepreneur and so much more. We'll be right back. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Penji. Here's a little bit more about them. Penji helps startups, agencies, and marketing teams achieve more with unlimited graphic design support at one flat monthly rate. Their easy-to-use online platform pairs you with a professional designer and lets you create as many design projects as you want. Think of it as your monthly subscription to top-notch design. No contracts, no hourly billing, just fast, simple, and affordable graphic design for all of your needs. And for our listeners, they're giving you 15% off your first month. Here's how you can take advantage of that special offer. Head on over to Penji, penji.co. That's .co, not .com, penji.co. Use the code JUMBLE, Jumble, to get 15% off your first month. Again, head on over to penji.co. Use that code JUMBLE to get 15% off your first month. We also want to thank our friends over at opportunityinchina.com. Have you been looking for a way to change your career or social prospects? Do you see the world around you changing and haven't quite figured out what path you should take? You are not alone in seeking opportunity. Visit opportunityinchina.com for access to scholarships to attend university in China. Or, if you have a bachelor's degree already, opportunityinchina.com provides access to jobs in the educational sector all across China. Now, working in China is not only often well paid, but it will place you among 1/5 of the world's population, boosting your social network, bringing you more deeply into the story of globalization, and opening up doors you never knew existed. So seize your opportunity now. Visit their website for more information at opportunityinchina.com. Now let's jump back into our conversation with today's guest, Eileen Kenny of Who Fits. We are back with Eileen Kenny, and we're talking about Who Fits. We're talking about her journey of entrepreneurship. We're talking about dreams and ideas and so much more. We're here in New York City, as you can probably hear in the background. That's just part of the city. Sometimes it happens, and that's okay. Eileen, all right. I have 2 daughters. I have one who is 6. I have one who is 2. They're with us here in New York. And one of my favorite memories of our oldest daughter, we lived in Northern California for 13 years, and we'd go to the farmer's market every Saturday. And we'd walk around, and in one of the rainier years in Northern California, which hadn't happened for a while, there's puddles everywhere, and it was a beautiful day. And I remember our oldest daughter in her raincoat and rain boots, big yellow rain boots. We have a picture of it, green raincoat, and I remember her jumping in the puddle. So I love these products because instantaneously they remind me of my child and that special moment for us. So let's back up and get way before even the boots. How did you get to entrepreneurship? How did you get to the stage of saying, you know what, I want to create something, I have an idea. What led you to that place?
So I think that any product that's made, answers a question or solves a problem. And when I was riding and I was involved in horses for so many years, the first product we came up with was called a Unisit, and it taught you how to sit on a horse to ride it so you can ride better and compete and train.
Yeah.
And what it is something that you kind of literally strap yourself onto a horse. Well, that's kind of stupid, right? Because if something happens and the horse bucks and you kill yourself.
Yeah.
So my thought was, well, it makes sense, the concept, and it will help you with your muscle memory and all that, but it has to be safe. So I said, well, you have to be able to get off in quick release.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what other sport does that? Well, race car drivers are strapped in their car, and if you get in an accident, you got to get out of there really quickly. So apparently, they have this buckle that is a quick release on their strap in the race cars.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, we could incorporate that. For example, when you're on a treadmill and you're hooked up to the little thing you have to plug in.
Yeah.
If
So
you
that
fall
if you
off,
fall off,
it stops,
Yeah.
right? So similar concept.
Yeah.
So I went out in the middle of nowhere in Arizona and found this man who has this huge, in the middle of the desert, huge building, and I went in the building and I thought, oh my God, I could be killed out here. No one would know where I went. At any rate, I found him. He had those buckles, and we came up with this concept of how if the horse jumps or anything, it'll unbuckle you, you'll be safe.
Yeah.
So that was my first entrepreneurial business idea, and it became quite successful and still is in use today.
Super
So it's helping
cool.
people compete and ride better. The second thing I did was, again, to do with the horses, fox hunters that go fox hunting after the hounds and all that.
Yeah.
So their horses are out for hours and hours at a time, and they have a lot of sore backs after that because they're out trudging around West God and beyond cross country. So I thought, well, this was when the essential oils before they got really popular.
Right.
And so I researched essential oils and how they carry into the cells and what can promote circulation, what can create less inflammation, all that. And I made this blend and mixture and sold it to the fox hunters. And I also had a horse that resected its hoof. It had a disease there, and I wanted it to grow back quicker, so I incorporated African shea butter that I imported and put. So all these products, I was in my kitchen, and my kid was, this big, and she's in there helping me pour and make this stuff. So we ended up, and I named it Miss B's Finest because my daughter's name is Bridget, so we call her Miss B. Anyway, made the labels and sold it to the equestrian community, and it worked so well that I was shipping it out to Florida and office workers for carpal tunnel and all this other stuff. So it worked really well. So these are little things that led me to this. And then when this concept came up, I was like, okay, I know how to incorporate. I know how to do a business. I know how to solve problems and create and go through marketing and, all that. So that helped, each step of the way helped come to this product.
Yeah.
So
I love that part of your story is that you're turning your passions into products. Mm-hmm. And I think
going back to what I said, do something you love.
Yes. And I think that's so valuable because you have to have there are entrepreneurs that do businesses that they're not passionate about. And that's fine, but for so many people I find that passion sustains them when they feel like giving up. Mm-hmm. So talk to us a little bit about how passion can be a fuel on the journey of building products like this.
Well, it's exciting to me personally, and I can't speak for everyone, but I know enough about this horse world. The equestrian world is where I came from.
Yeah.
And when I can create something from that's either fun or effective or solves a problem or helps any of the animals or people involved, then that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's a positive plus. So if I can take my knowledge from that industry that I spent so many years in and create things like this or the topicals that I made and all that, and it helps and it inspires people or makes them happy and little kids light up and have fun in these, then I think that's definitely the way to go. If I did something I didn't like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to go there to the office. I don't want to get out of bed and it's like going to the gym at 5 a.m. Yeah, it's tough, it's tough. So, but the reward is, endless. And to me, it's not just financial.
Yeah.
It's how you're inspiring people, how you're affecting others.
Yeah.
And if it's helping.
Yeah.
And if it's not helping, then why are you doing it?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think that there are too many people living in our culture.
The hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Get off the hamster wheel, people. Read the book, Choose Yourself. Come on.
Yeah, and you got to move past that dissatisfaction in life and get to a place where you're enjoying what you're doing, because work takes way too much of our time to not be passionate about what we do.
Yes, and you're spending more time working than you are living. Are you working to live or living to work?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the origin story of how you ended up creating these boots. And they have like a little hoof there. So when you kids walk with them, they leave the little mark there. So tell us that little story of the aha moment. You went, hey, this is a product I can create. I like this.
Right. So again, going back to when I was a little kid, we all jumped around and galloped and pretend we were horses. Fast forward all the years when I was working in the horse industry, again, I saw the hoof prints and my footprint next to it, and I thought that would be really fun. Wouldn't that be cool to be a horse? And it reminded me of when we were little kids. So I went and got a Dremel and made the print on the bottom of a clog, and I put it in the sand, and it worked. I said, that's cool. And at that time, I was training a horse for a couple that were retired, IBM executives, and I have a lot of ideas. This shirt is another idea.
Yeah.
However, at the time, they thought this hoof print thing to make a shoe or a boot or a clog would be great.
Yeah.
And I said, I think it'd be fun. And they're like, you know what, that would really sell.
Okay.
We should do it. And I said, okay. Of course, I never, mind you, never had a business course or class in my entire life.
Yeah.
I had no money. Single mom, had no clue how to do injection molding or PVC or how to make a shoe or a boot at all. So literally starting from ground zero with an idea and enthusiasm, and that was it. And just one step at a time. It's like, every day, what is that 100% rule? The 1% rule, you do 1% a day and do it for 100 days.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I did, point whatever percent over 7 years, and here I am.
Well, what kept you going when, you mentioned 7 years. Mm-hmm. So what kept you going through that process when you were year 5 and you're like, they're still not on market? Mm-hmm. Like, what kept you going through that process of endurance through the development process?
Well, here's the thing. We tried to get it done here in the U.S. and it was cost prohibitive. It just kept building and building, and we would have been bankrupt immediately. So the next thing was go to China. So talk about an eye-opener. My first trip to China was like landing on Mars. The culture shock was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I have great stories about that. But so we ended up going to China, and in China, there are no rules. So we ended up meeting some factories and trying to get it produced there. And they stole all our money. And we got screwed many times and just kept at it and trying to figure out, like, God damn it, this has to work. I know it's going to work. I just have to find the way to get it done.
Yeah.
And that part, I am Irish, so I'm a little stubborn. But
I think that you have to be in entrepreneurship.
It pissed me off. That why are these people doing this? This could actually be a great product.
Yeah.
And so I just kept at it and tried to raise the money and keep it under belt. And all the time I was doing this, I was learning myself. So I feel like I've been through like a master's program at a major college, going from start to finish to get these done. So I learned from, I went to Italy and had the molds done and the liners and designed them. And there's so much more involved. I really learned a lot about the industry and PVC injection molding versus rubber and why and how it's done. And it's just an amazing area that I never ever would have gone into ever had we not had that conversation and went, this would be really fun, let's do it.
So you are creating these shoes, but how did you come up with the design? What was that process for figuring out this is what the horse should look like?
So interesting. I love creativity and I love to draw.
Yeah.
So I sat down one day, and when we decided originally it was going to be a clog.
Okay.
And then we thought, well, that's not really going to work. Why don't we make it a horse? And then somebody said, you should do a tail. And then it dawned on me we could make it look like a horse and have a tail. And I wanted to have a little brush and a little hoof pick. You can pick out the dirt and all that stuff. So I sat down and we started drawing faces, and I actually got a boot from, Kmart or Walmart, and I painted a face on and looked at it and I tweaked it. And then we went to people who do CAD designs, and we went to, Photoshop, and we created these digital designs, and then we put it on material and then put it on the boot, and then, kind of one step at a time went through it.
Super cool.
Yeah, crazy. And so what's wonderful about this is now that we've gotten our flagship item, which is the horse, we've now, and mind you, this is patented worldwide.
Yeah.
My brother happens to be an international patent attorney, which was a very
That's
big
helpful,
help.
yes.
So that was the first thing we did, was get patents for China and Europe and the US.
Yeah.
And so the next item we're doing is a lion boot.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's coming out. We have everything ready to go with that. So it's a lion face, and it has a fur mane around the top, and a little lion tail with a poof, and it has a little lion footprint.
Oh, wow.
So boys would love that.
Yeah.
They could be a little lion. And we also have designs for like all the Chinese zodiac. We have a panda and a pig and all these other things. And we have a dragon, which is awesome because it's like, it's wonderful, and it leaves a dragon footprint. It's got these wings of, dragon. It's just wonderful. So the idea and the proof of concept with the first flagship horse, we could do more.
Yeah.
So we have all this pipeline of all these other animals, and I had to copyright them all and design them and make sure we're protected. And so I am looking for the next step. This should be a global product. It should be taken to everywhere in the world for little kids and people that want to do this. And so I am ready to go to the next level. I think it will explode.
Yeah.
And I need help.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a company and individual partners to help me take this and give it to the world.
Super cool. As we move towards the end of today's show, a couple questions for you. How are you finding purpose in what you do?
The only purpose I can tell you is that it solves a few things. One, my creativity. It fills my bucket. I get to make things out of a concept and bring them to reality.
Yeah.
It's not like, the craze now is software and IT and all that. That's not really a tangible thing.
Yeah.
This is tangible. It's something you can hold and wear and put on, and same with the shirt. I mean, you can do something with it and have it. And it's an interactive experience. It's not just putting on a pair of shoes or a boot.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. The second thing is the joy it can bring to people. Does it help?
Yeah.
Does it make them happy? Is it fun to do?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah. And our final question for today's show is, what's the big goal? Where do you want to take this?
I want to see these fun boots on everyone. And why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to wear boots or rain boots or any kind of thing, why not? Why not have fun with it? Why not be different and stand out and enjoy it?
Yeah. Where can people find Who Fits?
Hoofits, yeah.
Hoofits, yeah.
Hoofits with a Z because you're hoofing it. Giddy up. You can go to hoofits.com. They are now selling on Amazon. And definitely look it up. And there's plenty of information out there. And there's videos. And just go to Hoofits. It's HOOF as in fun. T as in Thomas, Z as in zebra.com.
Very cool.
Yes.
Well, Eileen, thank you so much
Thanks, Michael.
for being with us. And we wish you the best and can't wait to see all of the creatures you create.
Oh, they're going to be
wonderful. And all the kids and adults that wear it and share that imprint on the world.
And we got to get some for your girls.
I'd love it.
Giddy up. Thank you so
right.
much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Once again, we want to thank Eileen Kenny of Who Fits for being on today's show. Today's show was recorded live at Podcast Row at Stand Up New York in New York City. You can learn more about Eileen, Who Fits, Stand Up New York, and Podcast Row by checking out the episode notes. We also want to thank our sponsors for today's show. Today's show was sponsored by Penji, offering unlimited graphic design at a low monthly rate. Use the code JUMBLE to get 15% off your first month when you visit Penji, PENJI.co. We also want to thank OpportunityInChina.com. They are connecting people with awesome opportunities to learn and teach abroad. Go check them out at OpportunityInChina.com. We want to help you turn those dreams and ideas into reality. Of course, we've got this podcast, but we're doing a lot more other incredible things. So head on over to JumbleThink.com to learn more about what we're doing to help you turn your dreams and ideas into reality. You can also find links to our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter pages. Let's be friends and let's do this journey of chasing dreams and ideas together. Now it's your turn to chase those dreams and ideas you have. So get out there, dream big, and change the world around you.
Dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.